This video contains major spoilers for the books. If you have not read the entire series, certain elements will be revealed to you for the first time here instead of their proper context. Continue at your own discretion.
I'm Max.
I'm Glenn, the Geeky Hippie, and tonight we have a special guest. We have coming to us from all the way from the Threefold Land, Grace, Maiden of the Spirit. Grace, tell us about yourself and your show.
Hi. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And my name's Grace, aka Bane and Chiad on Twitter of Time. And I'm also part of an awesome talk show, usually on Thursday nights, but temporarily we've moved to Tuesday nights. It's a live stream run by Malkier Talks as our token wetlander. And then we've got a revolving door of 3 different maidens and 2 wise ones. And sometimes Nakomi sneaking in and out, joining our live stream each week. And we talk about all things Aiel. We talk about Wheel of Time news, and we play games, and we discuss tier lists and stabs. Stabs is a big part of what we like to discuss.
Stabby.
Hashtag stabby stab.
Melindra's really big on that, I've noticed.
She is. Yeah, we've got GIFs of her doing stabby stabs that are pretty amazing.
And it's called Threefold Talk?
Yes, Threefold Talk. Did I not share the name? I should probably have shared the name.
That's all right.
Threefold Talk, and you can find us at Threefold Talk on Twitter. And you can also subscribe to Malkier Talks' YouTube channel, and you can find us there.
All right. Great to have you with us. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for sitting in for Rebecca. She wasn't able to make it tonight. We all miss her. We missed having the wisdom with us, especially for our premiere episode of the actual show. It's not a prologue anymore. Here we are. The Wheel of Time has dropped. It's on Amazon Prime. And hopefully everybody out there has seen the first 3 episodes. I'm ready to talk about them. Now, we've got an itinerary for the way we discuss our shows when we do our reviews. We've got several segments that we'll be talking about during each episode. And we're going to start with what we call the What Take. That's the outstanding, whether good or bad moment of the episode. Max, why don't we start with you?
Well, from episode 1, it would have to probably be the braid pull.
The what?
The braid pull.
Yeah?
Where Nynaeve gets captured.
You didn't like that? Or you liked it?
No, I
it
liked
good
that.
or bad?
Like,
you think it was great? What was it about it that you liked?
the action segment of it, just the surprise of not expecting it.
Okay.
The, oh shit.
Yeah, that did catch me off guard. Bane, what do you think about that?
About the braid pull?
Yeah, the trolley grabbing her by the braid.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely not expecting that at all. And it was definitely really well done. And I enjoyed watching the behind the scenes of how they actually did it. I don't know if you two saw that, but it looks like, yeah, definitely check out the behind the scenes. And the stunt woman who was demonstrating it is actually the woman who's playing Tigraine, who's also a stunt woman. And they demonstrated that they didn't actually pull her hair. Obviously, they used just a long cord that was attached to her harness, and just with her ponytail up, kind of hiding where the Trolloc had his hand. It's really cool.
Yeah, I saw that just before this.
Okay, I didn't catch that. That's on the Prime channel?
Yep.
Or the Prime website?
The X-ray extra features,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it's only in the episode on X-ray. They did add some.
Okay.
Yep. They did add some extra behind-the-scenes stuff on the regular page. That wasn't there the other day.
Right,
I think they were talking about the episodes. Each episode had its own behind-the-scenes.
Grace, what was your What take for this episode, good or bad?
Mine was the Beltane attack. In particular, how it started. It was just so unexpected with poor Tom getting stabbed through the chest.
Tom Thane, R.I.P.
Is his last name Fane?
Thane.
Oh, Thane. Okay,
That's
I was
John
wondering.
Thane's son.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was an actual character because I didn't remember a Tom. I was hoping maybe it would be like Ewan Fingar or something, but Yeah, I thought that was just so great in terms of the shock value of everyone dancing and having fun, and all of a sudden, it's just really well done. And
Sorry, that was my phone. I forgot to mute my phone.
I
So
was like,
I
what
guarantee
happened?
somebody behind me is going to make a smart comment in the video when I edit this, telling me to turn off my Taran grill.
um, yeah. So, and I think I saw a few people say this. It looked like there was an arrow coming through his chest at first. And then you realized it was actually just the point of that horrible, jagged axe that the Trolloc had. Anyway, it was gross, it was shocking, and I loved it. And the whole events that followed just seemed so realistic, and just really disturbing, which I enjoyed quite a bit.
For the most part, it was realistic. I had some issues with some of the CG towards the latter half of the whole Winter Night Beltane battle sequence. When Moiraine started doing her channeling, especially when she did that up and then down and then through, it looked like her and Lan and the Trollocs that were all lit up by her channeling were on an entirely different frame rate than everything else, and it threw me out. It put me in it was in the uncanny valley for me, and I noticed it really badly the first time I watched it on streaming, when it first dropped, and I think that was because everybody was trying to stream it at once and everything was really choppy. But when I downloaded it through Prime and then watched it later, it was still kind of it was just the picture just didn't look right during those sequences. That everything lit up by her channeling didn't look right. Everything else about the fight sequence, from the moment the Trollocs attacked to the end of the episode, looked great. I'll agree with you there, but that everything around her channeling just didn't quite look right to me. But the Trollocs are amazing.
So I love the practical effects of the Trollocs.
Yeah.
Even like in the behind the scenes video, which you haven't seen yet, they look amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
it's scarier than an orc.
For the CGI, one of the complaints that was pretty common was when Moraine like split the one in half by Egwene and Nynaeve. That one is like, it's just, I've seen a lot better. It just did not work.
Yeah.
The one of the things I noticed while I was just doing a quick review, like in the behind the scenes, we see them pulling the Trollocs to make them like fly, and those scenes look great. But in the CGI and all the post editing, they did some random slow mo. So he'd fly back in real time, and then one Trolloc flies back, and they'd slow him down for no reason. And it kind of gave it that little cheesiness to it that was like, why'd you slow him down?
Yeah. For me, the one I meant for, well, it's actually two moments. It's the two moments where you see Matt being really protective of his little sisters, because that shows Matt. I mean, we don't get really to see much of Matt's personality in the first two books. Not really at all. We only see Shatter Logoth Dagger Matt. We don't see Matt Coughlin. And the Matt Coughlin we learn about in later books, we're actually getting to see before he gets tainted by the dagger. And the best way to do that is to show him taking care of these two little sisters. And it warmed my heart seeing him. Now I understand why his sisters are so much younger than him on the show than they are in the books. Now I understand why his parents are who they are on the show compared to what they are in the books. You know, I was pissed when I first heard a couple of weeks ago what they did to his parents for their background. I was like, why are you doing that to Abel Coughlin? And now I'm like, oh, it's for Matt. It lets Matt shine before you have to corrupt him with that damn dagger. It's so that people actually see the change and who Matt is, see him fall, and feel the pain of watching him fall before he's fixed and healed, that dagger's removed from him. And so him taking care of his daughters, in the beginning when his mom's drunk as shit, and then him going out and risking his life, running through these Trollocs attacking to find his sisters and get them outside the village. Those are my favorite moments. And
So I would mention on that is that it brings out that he is not the bloody hero while doing heroic things.
he's no bloody hero.
Yeah.
No.
And he's always saying, I'm no bloody hero. But
Most
then he goes
heroes
ahead
say
and,
that. And most heroes say that. They're no bloody hero. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I give it to Matt.
Oh,
for
yeah.
Episode 1. Without
Yeah.
a doubt.
I'm in love with Show Matt. I think they did a brilliant job with his character. And yeah, I could go on about it for a long time, but totally agreed.
And his casting.
Oh, he's
Barney
fantastic.
I knew Barney was going to be good when I first saw the picture of him, but he's just unbelievably better than I expected him to be. So much better than I expected him to be. And it just, they haven't done any wrong yet with Matt, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely a standout character, standout performance for sure.
Ever since I saw his the preview from his movie Star Child, I think it was called, with the Amish thing.
Starboy.
Starboy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that was Matt, especially with Dagger Matt.
Yeah. Ready to move on to Tavern of the episode?
Sure.
Definitely.
Grace, start with you.
Well, this actually is a good segue from the Matt talk. My Taviran was Juliet Howland as Natty Cawthon. I thought she just, for such a short time on screen, she was incredibly effective. Just a really great performance. My heart really went out to her. And just, I don't know, I was kind of starstruck by her in that moment. I thought she was fantastic.
She was pretty amazing. And kind of prophetic of episode 3. But yeah, she was good.
Yeah.
What do you think of it, Max?
She was good. My Taviran of the episode would be someone else right now, but not sure if we're still going Natty. My brain just died here. Sorry.
It's all right. It happens.
No worries. We can go on to yours.
Let's move on to yours.
What do you have to think about Natty?
I thought she was pretty good. It like I said, it ties into why I think Matt was so good. And she played a large part in that. So yeah, I can see why she would say that. I've got a different answer myself, but let's hear yours.
It's tough. If we're talking about just straight up acting, Egwene was pretty remarkable throughout the episode from what we got of her. Moraine was decent, I guess. Lan didn't say a damn word. Perrin's arc was pretty good, but I can't help but love Nynaeve's scream at the Trolloc. I mean, from the trailer, I wasn't really impressed with her acting in that first scene, but the rest of it I liked what she did.
Yeah.
So I'd say there's a lot of ties for me, but I just can't get past the scream of the Trolloc.
I mean, if you got ties, go for a tie. Because see, I cheated. I went outside cast. I went crew. Kelly Valentine Henry, her casting agency, because she really did put it together. I mean, I have yet to see a mistake in casting since the show started. Had wondered about casting with, on the lead up to it. Didn't know if everybody was right for their parts, but as of yet, I have yet to see a single person perform below expectations, or heck, most people have exceeded my expectations. Everybody has been perfect and spot on. especially, oh my goodness, especially Pat and Fane. Oh
Yeah.
wow, that
Yeah.
that entire sequence, that was Pat and Fane. Every moment he was on the screen, it screamed Pat and Fane, and it was just, but every person she cast, everything her casting agency has done, even all the extras look right, you know, and that's for all 3 episodes so far. But I did pick others for the next two, but I easily could have stuck with her for all three for the as Taverin, because without her, I mean, everything ties back to her. I mean, she really is the thread that everything ties around.
There's been talk about a lot of this first episode was cut down from like maybe 2 hours down to one.
Yeah.
I would really like to have seen more of Egwene's father, because like the one line of dialogue he had, I was not impressed with.
He had two.
I remember just the one,
He talked after the bar closed.
Hmm.
When they were cleaning up.
I just remember the first one where he was talking to Egwene. Is like it's just off a bit. I don't know what about it, but it's like I wish we had more lines to really appreciate his acting.
Yeah, that would have been nice. All right, so up next is, did anybody actually have a dragon's fang? That's an optional. Something so horrible that you just couldn't stand it.
Not really.
I do. I do. And I'm pissed at Rafe Judkins. I'm really pissed at Rafe Judkins. I think he should have listened to Brandon Sanderson. Perrin killing his wife. Neither the audience nor Perrin needed that. This is self-loathing that Perrin will now have to go through, that is entirely different than the type of self-loathing he would have gone through for killing 2 White Cloaks that killed Hopper. And it's totally different than the type of self-loathing he would have gone through if Rafe had listened to Brandon and had it be Harold Luhan that Perrin killed by accident. We have an unnecessary character added to the story to give Perrin angst, self-loathing, doubt, and misery, when they could have just stuck with Harold Luhan and killed him off that way. Or not even gone that way and just stuck with them meeting the White Cloaks and kept that storyline, and Perrin killed 2 White Cloaks, which he felt like shit about to begin with. Yeah, and so yeah, this was a really unnecessary. Rafe gets a big old dragon's fang on his garage door, and his front door, and his back door, and every single window, and the windows of his car. Rafe gets all the dragon fangs this week.
I'm going to withhold judgment until I see how the season plays out. I wasn't a big fan of it either. I also thought, like, I can understand why they're doing it, but I didn't think it was well executed, because we didn't even get to know Layla before this happened, and there was awkwardness in their relationship. We had no idea what that was about. She only had one line. We didn't really care about her. So I'm not really sure what they're going for. So I have to think there's going to be some flashbacks later on that tell us what exactly was going on and why we should care. And maybe there's some reason why it had to be her and not Master Luhan, particularly in terms of later on his protectiveness over Fail. Did it have to specifically be over a love interest or over a woman because of that? I don't know. I think there's too many unanswered questions right now, so I'm going to wait and see what happens. Awesome. But overall, I was not a huge fan of it either. So I hear you, Glenn.
If anything, I'm just happy they didn't go the route of him just blindly rage killing her.
Yeah.
Like literally hack 5 times. Like
right.
That I would not have been happy. And that's what people were theorizing way in the past, is that he was going to rage kill her and 10 attacks on her. And it's like, no.
No.
The way they did it at least works in context for a show of how they went about it.
Yeah.
Over what could have been. Future wise, I've said in the past that the way they did it can set up his obsession over protecting Fail.
Mhm.
It can also set up why he didn't want to, be friends with Fail at all. He wanted nothing to do with her. And I can kind of see how that can play into that. And of course, we find out if she is a dark friend, it gets over his grief a little faster.
Because there's that whole question of why was the hammer like that, Okay, so let's move on. Another turning of the wheel. Most significant, biggest changes the show made. We'll start with me since it's the order we're going.
Did you already do it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go something other. Oh shoot, I actually did talk about it, but we're gonna go back to that. It's Matt Cawthon's family changes. Yeah, the characters, his sisters aren't that young in the books, but nothing in the text suggests that his parents are anything less than respectable. But like I was saying earlier, these changes really let Matt's character shine, and it's one of the bigger changes that I saw, but I think it actually works better on the show. I think it works better for showing off Matt's personality than what Jordan did with the book, showing off Matt's personality in the first two books. Matt was a second thought in books 1 and 2. Is really how Matt feels. When you go back after having read all the other books, or most of the rest of the books at least, and go back and reread Eye of the World and Great Hunt, he's kind of there, and not much else. So, yeah, I'm going to say that for my answer for that one, the improvements on the Coffin family. Max?
Just had it and it went.
That happens.
How about Grace goes?
Well, I think we already talked about mine. I thought the Perrin changes were the most significant changes, and I wasn't really sure if for the better or for the worse just yet. So we can skip mine, and I agree on the Matt changes.
Okay. So for mine, I would have to say one of the changes that is kind of big but not big had to deal with basically not showing anything with Rand. We had some segments where we saw his thing with his dad and Narg, but we didn't get Tam's fever dream talking about him being adopted.
Right.
We just missed out a lot of that. I don't even think he told his son about how he got the sword.
Right.
A lot of those little tiny things, like the flame of the void, it's gone. And yet we know if they went out and said like flame in the void and it's parallel to Egwene's in the river, that we would go, oh yeah, he can channel. So to keep that mystery up, they're taking all the attention off Rand. I would probably want to say he had some of the least airtime, maybe, of everybody.
I think Egwene probably gets the most.
Oh, was it like I think it was the bath scene. Lan asked Moraine, "Who do you think it is?" and went right to Egwene.
Yeah.
And then Rand in the background, like, huh?
Yeah, I think they're definitely trying to point everyone's attention towards Egwene, especially since she's the only one that we know now that can channel. And that's pretty much all they've said about the Dragon Reborn so far, is that it's the most powerful channeler.
Yeah.
But just based on her screen time and some of the camera angles and shots, it's very Egwene centric right now.
Somebody I saw on Twitter said that their husband, after they left the premiere, their husband hasn't read the books, but they left the premiere and their husband thinks it's Egwene is the dragon. So it's working.
Yeah.
I've heard some parents out there.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Don't think anyone's predicted Matt yet.
No.
God, I hope not. I wouldn't want to imagine Matt as the Dragon Reborn. My God, world would be screwed. We've got our next section to cover. We covered all of episode 1, and now we're on to episode 2, Shadows Waiting. And our first, the want take, the outstanding good or bad moment of the episode. Who wants to volunteer to give theirs first?
I'll go.
Okay, Grace, what was your outstanding good or bad moment?
My outstanding moment was a good moment, and it was when I realized that we were getting the Manetheren speech. And specifically during that speech, when Moraine starts talking about Eldrine and the camera lingers on Egwene, I got chills. I thought that was brilliant foreshadowing and so meaningful. And I was already emotional because I was so touched that they actually put that in. I was fully not expecting to get it. And I could understand why they wouldn't. But I loved the way they reimagined it, just kind of casually on horseback. I think that made it a lot less like heavy-handed and overly dramatic. I thought it was lovely with the song that they were singing. And it was just made me feel very loved as a fan.
What do you think, Max?
I think that part was pretty good, especially when Rand's being a sourpuss, but padding along.
Yeah. I could have gone with several scenes. I mean, there was the cold opening with the White Cloak camp. There was Egwene and Moiraine in the forest at night talking about the three oaths and channeling. But even the scene with the White Cloaks and Moiraine meeting Joffrey Bornhold, that was a great scene. But Weep for Manetheren, from the moment Matt started singing, I mean, I was leaning back on my bed watching, and then he started singing. And once I realized what he was singing about, I was up like this, like sitting real close watching, because I just like, and I almost, I don't cry. I rarely get teary eyed anymore, but I was real close during that scene because you can't help but weep for Manetheren. And I don't, it amazed me how well the scriptwriter for this episode boiled down Moiraine's speech to just that. And it doesn't seem, I mean, I went back and I looked at the actual speech in the book, and it's like, oh yeah, she did chop it down a lot, but it didn't feel like it, because it felt like she got all of it there, all the important parts there. But it was, I mean, I was happy. I don't care that it wasn't in front of all of Emmons Field. It was good enough. And yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a love. That was a present to the fans. I think that really was. It did it for me.
Standout scene for me actually kind of has to do the testing that Moiraine gave to Egwene.
Yeah,
It kind of shows the foreshadowing from just the first episode in the river, that they really are thinking about these things.
right. Definitely. That, like I said, I almost put that whole scene in the forest with Moiraine and Egwene down. That definitely would have been on my list, but for the Weep from Manetheren scene. And like you said, the foreshadowing with the river, yeah, that whole river sequence. Anybody who doesn't see the point of Egwene's, rite of passage just totally isn't really paying attention. I mean, it does so much. It gives you an introduction to a character you get a secondhand introduction to. You get her as a point of view character instead of Rand's viewing of her. You get an insight into a side of the Two Rivers culture, from a point of view other than Rand's, and you get this amazingly beautiful scenery-wise metaphor for channeling Sayadar. what's wrong with that? Yet I see people complaining about that whole women's circle.
So,
Well, we
did
got
you
through
have
that.
any?
Well, I had the same
was it?
one. I had
Okay.
the same one she did. So our next segment is again the Tavern of the episode, the choice of most valuable player of the episode, whether actor or crew member. I'm going to start this one, and you'll see a theme here in the next two episodes. Barney Harris wins it for me with. I'll give credit also the designers who created the practical and digital sets for Shadow Logoth, a close second. But Shadow Logoth was gorgeous. And I would have loved to have seen that city in its heyday. But Barney Harris is just, I can't say it enough. Barney Harris, Barney Harris, Barney Harris. It's a crying shame that we're not going to have Barney Harris season 2 and beyond. Donald Finn has some big shoes to be stepping into. I hope that boy is as good as Barney. Of course, it's making me think that they should do Doctor Who with the character of Matt, just a new actor every year. Every season, a new actor. Just, nope, okay, we got Donald Finn. Who's next?
So
every season, recast him.
So for my Tavern of the episode, obviously Maureen's story is good. But this is also the first episode we really got to see Rand actually act. And we really got to see that bubbling rage he has come out. And it does make me wonder in the future just how mad he's going to get.
Will he get mad enough to kill the Sand People? The Tusken
Maybe.
Raiders?
Definitely.
The women and the children? Yeah, he is a little hate Christian-y. But that's what he's supposed to be. He's a spoiled brat in a lot of ways at this point. I agree. Grace?
So I also had Barney Harris as my Taviran. It's hard not to put him for every answer. But yeah, especially during the conversation with Perrin at Shatter Logoth, when they're sitting there and he gives Perrin the knife.
Oh, yeah.
Just the nuance of his facial expressions and the way he delivers his lines. He is a fantastic actor. And I loved that scene. It made me teary. Of course, it's easy to get me to cry. I'm the opposite of you, Glenn. I cry over everything. But
in my case, it's the medications that don't let me cry.
So remember the he's not a bloody hero thing? He gave Perrin his knife, leaving him without a knife.
Yeah.
But his luck, he got a knife.
Yeah.
Interestingly, right after he was woken up, which came moments after strange wind started up in Shadow Logoth, moments after a strange whistling started.
Yeah.
And when was the last time we heard that whistling? Just as Patton Fane's wagon came rolling into town.
Yeah, I loved that. That was so cool.
Yeah, I didn't know if anybody else picked up on that. I'm glad somebody did. Because I was like, wait a second. Do those two things, that's a little, ooh, okay.
The more foreshadowing.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that was Tavern of the episode. All three of us gave a Tavern?
Yep, kinda.
Did anybody have a Dragon's Fang?
The Valda.
Yeah, Eamon Valda.
Pretty despicable.
Great scene, but yeah, Eamon Valda gets a Dragon's Fang for burning that yellow at the stake. I mean, first of all, chopping her hands off and then burning her at the stake. Oh, and eating that chickadee like that.
At least it wasn't pickled.
Right? I mean, but especially not while watching a woman burn at the stake. Who do you think you are, Vlad Tepes? That was just, yeah, I would definitely want to paint or spray paint Dragon's Fang on Eamon Valda's tent. I am weirded out, though. I'm not sure if I like him being a questioner or not, but I guess it works. He's taken over some of the role of what's that high questioner?
Asunawa?
Sunawa. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting change, but I think it makes sense. And it establishes sort of the different factions within the White Cloaks. You see the difference between Bornhald's interaction with Moraine and Valda's. And I think it'll be interesting to see what happens if Valda becomes Lord Captain Commander. Does that mean the questioners have sort of taken over the White Cloaks?
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
I just wish they had like the sunburst here and like the shepherd's crook there, so like we could tell what they were. I miss that in the costume design.
Would that be your another turning?
Yeah, I mean, I do like the costume design. The outline and design itself. It's missing that little emblazoned gold sunburst, and then the shepherd's crook behind it for the questioners. I mean, it's missing it's a lack of something, but the rest of it's awesome. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the White Cloak costuming.
Yeah, I think they look super cool.
So for another tuning, the most significant, biggest changes the show made in adapting the books and how the panelists felt about them, and whether they worked better or worse than the source material would have. How do you want to do? Do you want to go, Max, or do you want me to just go with mine?
Sure. I'd actually have to say the whole thing in Shadar Logoth. It's supposed to be a white mist, and as we know, it was basically a black shadow.
Okay.
I do believe there is a visual reason for this, and that has to do with episode 6, The Ways. We can't have a black wind in a black background. You're not going to see this wind come at you whispering these things. It's just going to be nothingness. So I think they swapped the mist for the Ways so you can actually see it. And the shadows in Shadar Logoth so you can also see it.
I like that theory. That's a good theory.
Yeah. See, I wasn't expecting to actually see the black wind and the Ways, but I guess if they're going to show it to us like you would expect, like a silvery white fog, because in my reread audio listen, I'm actually in Shadar Logoth right now. So I was listening to that on the way to the store. And it's silvery, yeah. I like the way they did Mashadar, and without naming it on the show. I actually think, my personal opinion is, I think that they did it because it would look better than a silvery white fog floating around and reaching out like an amoeba and snatching people up and devouring them. I just don't think that would have looked good on screen. I think that would have looked incredibly cheesy.
Well, even that's better than the guy bloating up and filling a room, like out of Willy Wonka.
Yeah. And that's how people convinced me that the Mordeth scene as written couldn't have happened well either.
Did either of you have one?
Yeah, my answer for another turning with the biggest change I saw, and I went with skipping over entirely Barrelon. I mean, just entirely Barrelon, and pretty much essentially going straight from. They almost went straight from the Two Rivers to Shadar Logoth, basically. And I think it was a little clunky. And I'm not liking it as a storyline, even if I like individual scenes. My God, I really feel bad for Sarah. And she must have been fighting a losing fight for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, no, you got to keep this. No, you got to keep this. And then getting overridden. And it just must have been frustrating as hell for her. And, just the writing staff and Rafe just going their own way and doing what they decided on, despite her best efforts, because I'm sure she fought to keep a lot of stuff that they ended up getting rid of. And I'm sure stuff with Barrelon and stuff between Barrelon and Shadar Logoth was there. And
Oh, they did name drop it several times. So
Yeah.
they dropped, White Bridge, Bear Lawn. Trying to think of a couple others.
Yeah.
I know they
And I
Arsenic
find it
Ferry.
and I find it weird that Nynaeve catching up to them after Shadow Logoth instead of before Shadow Logoth. That's just all weird, and it's almost like getting whiplash. I'm just like, wait, what? So I don't know, just the structure just seems off.
Do you
So
have
I
any
guess
thoughts, Grace?
I think I actually liked the Nynaeve cliffhanger. That was what I listed. Although I do agree, I'm a little confused how she tracked them down from Shaddai Logoth. Like, did she go through the city on her own, or did she? I think Lan and Moraine left the other direction, like they went back the way they came. So maybe
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's kind of what I had in my head, but it just seems a little strange.
and
But
did she
yeah,
go back to the village after the cave and then go after them, or
Probably.
probably that would make
okay?
sense. Yeah, yeah.
She had different clothes, I think, did she?
Yes, she had changed
Okay.
clothes. She was in
Okay.
warmer clothes. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I couldn't help but love that last scene there when she's got Lan at knife point, which I don't think we got in the books.
No, that was cool, but I mean, like I said, I enjoyed individual scenes. It's just the overall generalness of it didn't feel right.
Yeah. Should we move on to the next episode?
Yep, nothing under reading a pattern just yet. So
I'm not sure how much time we have left.
3. Oh, we're good. We're good. All right. I will start with my want take. This time it's an outstanding bad moment. And that was the very awkward, and I'll use that word clunky, and I'll even say contrived introduction and meeting with the Tinkers. Without Elias there, it was really, really, really weak. It just did not feel right at all. I like the look of the Tinkers, their feel. I mean, you look at them and you think, hey, this is a band of hippies right off the bat. The only thing they're missing is tie-dye shirts underneath all those layers of clothes. I wish their wagons were painted a bit brighter and more garish. I mean, okay, their clothes aren't going to be super bright because, they probably don't have access to really bright dyes, but I'm sure they could get really bright paints, and those wagons would look really, really cool if they were brightly painted like they're described in the books. I'd have loved to have seen that, but that introduction and meeting with them and the wolves steering them, herding them to the Perrin Egwene stuff leading up to that too is just it was awkward. It just didn't feel right.
There was a Twitter comment about the meeting of the Tinkers, and they were saying like Aram's basically to his father, "Okay, boomer."
Yeah. And did you see the look on Isla's face there when she was completing the ritual? I mean, she's rolling her eyes as she does it. I mean, even she knows this is ridiculous, but she's doing it anyways. I'm like,
I will say that first, "Do you know the song?" coming out of the fog was kind of creepy. Like just the way that it was said, it kind of caught me off guard. And I thought that was interesting. It was almost like menacing at first. But I agree, even like RM coming out and helping explain what they should do, I thought was kind of clunky and awkward.
yeah.
It got better when they got to the campsite. I thought RM's performance was kind of charming at the campfire, and seeing Perrin and Egwene start stuffing food in their faces, I thought was cute. And up till that point, I had been very concerned about them, and I just wanted to like give them a hug because it was so bleak for them for a while.
Right.
So I enjoyed that, but I agree that first meeting was definitely awkward.
Once they got to the camp, I was okay, but
Yeah.
it was, oh boy.
Yeah.
It was rough, man. Grace, what was your what take?
My what take was Tom and Matt at the end of the episode. Just loved their conversation, loved their performance, loved the, budding bromance. They're going to be besties going forward in the books, at least. So I love that they established this relationship and have Tom sort of mentoring him, and the exchange of the coins back and forth. I just thought it was all really well done.
Like that one too. Mine's related to Matt, mainly the part where he's like, that's not how all roads work. Rant.
Yeah. Yep.
So then Tavern for the episode. Max, why don't we start with you?
Go with the obvious, Nynaeve.
Okay. Why?
I liked her acting.
Okay.
Her segments of, getting a drop on land, the collecting the herbs, which definitely goes back to what she does as a wisdom. Pretty much everything I saw, I liked what she did.
Okay. Grace, what do you think about that? Good choice?
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait to see more of Zoe. I feel like I missed her a lot in the second episode. And then, she wasn't really in the end of the first episode after she got carried away either. So I want more Zoe. She was fantastic.
She always steals the scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't wait to see her and Matt together more. Her and Matt, her and Barney, I should say. That just, I agree.
Yeah.
What was your Tavern, Grace?
So mine is Azuka Hoyle as Dana. I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel like she has now set the bar for all future Dark Friends. And I never thought I would feel empathy for a Dark Friend. I think the show did a fantastic job making it seem more understandable why somebody would want to become a Dark Friend. And you really cared about her and her lot in life and how she wanted to change that, and why she wants to break the wheel. I just thought it was well executed. I thought her acting was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I don't know. She did nothing wrong in my book.
Well, if she sets the bar, you've just ruled out Pater.
I mean,
yeah, poor Pater.
A little foreshadowing for us. We know exactly which Forsaken was her Dreadlord. Just by, what her motive was.
Yeah, well, she mentions him, right? Doesn't she say? Yeah.
I do have to ask, though. When did Ishamael bring Luce Theron to the Dark One 3,000 years ago? Unless this turning of the wheel, things played out differently?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not quite sure what she meant by that.
It'd just be a misunderstanding of history.
Yeah, or they've been taught wrong by their Dark One masters. Fake news, anybody?
Right?
Yeah. Well, I hope they explain that a little bit better going forward.
Let's hope. That didn't make a lot of sense. It made about as much sense as there are rumors of Fort Tavern and the Two Rivers.
Yeah.
I was going to mention...
how and who's saying there are... That line just... that I'll never get over that Fort Tavern and the Two Rivers line.
And if there were rumors of it, why didn't she just go straight there?
Yeah. And how come the people in the Two Rivers don't realize there are Fort Tavern there?
Yeah.
If outside of the Two Rivers, people realize there are Tavern there. That's just odd.
So I was going to mention that the whole Dana thing, or Donna thing, and the Ishmael connection with her whole about breaking the wheel. We know that's always been Ishmael's thing. He just wants reality to be done, So I think we're going to start seeing Dark Friends who have various attitudes from their head Dreadlord.
Mm,
You're going to
Oh.
have
makes sense.
a Grendel one that's all about, that stuff.
But that's well.
I think that's how
her
they're going to.
motivation. What her motivations are is debatable, but
Yeah, but I think that's how we're going to see them is like that's how they're going to recruit. The Dreadlord and their underlings are going to recruit based on like what their philosophy is.
it sounds like you're describing vampires from Vampire the Masquerade and their Methuselahs.
It's the Forsaken personality test, like the Asadi and the Ajas.
Okay.
Why did you pick this Aja? Why did you pick this Dreadlord?
All right, so what's up next? We've got Taverin for both. You've done your Taverin?
Did you
So
do
it's
yours,
my-
Glenn?
No, but can you take a wild guess? A wild
Barney
guess?
Harris?
Yeah. How'd you guess? Again, I mean, every scene he's in, especially the scenes with Tom. I mean, especially that scene outside with Tom, with Alexander Willem. It was just, yeah. I mean, that scene out there with Tom, that was both of them. That was Willem and Harris together. But Barney Harris, just so far, he's the standout these 3 episodes. I'm waiting to
Absolutely.
see somebody else, take it from him, but yeah, it's him so far. It's him so far.
Agreed.
So I will start the next category. Dragon's Fang. I didn't have one.
I have a good
this
one
episode.
possibly for you.
Okay, go for it.
Beelzemon and his torturing of Perrin with the things of his wife.
Oh, the dream.
That was
Okay.
the third, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I
third
was just
episode.
confirming that is third episode 3 where Perrin's being tortured in his dreams with the wolf eating Lila, and this is a dream put in his head from Beelzemon. It's a lot of mind torture he's doing to him.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, I should have thought of that as somebody doing something to somebody.
Yeah, a lot of people were wondering why the wolf was eating Layla, and did that mean she's a dark friend? But I interpreted it as Balsamon was controlling the dream and trying to turn Perrin away from the wolves because the wolves would be helpful for Perrin. That was my interpretation.
And I just made note the fact that the wolf was chewing away at the spot that Perrin's axe hit
Yeah.
Layla. So it's just it's symbolically representing the axe.
Well, just a prior episode, the wolf was licking his leg wound.
Mm.
Well, that's something that your dog will do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the wolf pretending to be part of your pack, his parents' pack. Wolves will. I don't know if wolves will do it, but I know dogs will do it to each other, and as well as themselves. So I would assume wolves probably do it to each other too.
Yep. Did either of you have any other dragon fangs at all, or just?
Mine was that green stuff that Nynaeve squishes out of Moraine's wound.
Yeah,
That was gross.
they didn't need to go that far. We didn't really need to see the wound get squeezed out. That was a little unnecessary.
I can still hear the sound effect in my mind of
Yeah.
it squishing.
Yeah, that was unnecessary too.
Will this mean we'll get a Dr. Pimple Popper episode out of this?
Please no.
Probably.
Please no. I'd rather not.
I think she does movie reviews, so.
Oh god. Max, you got another turning of the wheel for us.
Changes in this episode, obviously, they merged a lot of Dark Friends into Dana.
Yeah, they did.
They pump faked us, the fans, thinking they made her Dana, Thom's girl. So I'm not sure that's Big change or not, but at least for us as fans, it's like it's just a good fake out.
Not only was it a lot of dark friends into Dana, it was a lot of towns and villages into Breen Spring.
Yeah. They couldn't exactly call her Millie, because then we would know. So I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah. Or Samuel.
Or Pater.
Or Howell. My another turning of the wheel is all about what they did with Tom. Tom is, well, I mean, a new way to introduce us to Tom. Tom doesn't look like Tom. Tom's young. First of all, Tom looks physically intimidating. I mean, I would not want to be stuck in a dark alley with that man mad at me. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not sure I like Tom's attitude with that whole, expensive lessons, the most important lessons are expensive lessons type attitude. I just don't see Tom in the books having done something like that to two boys on the road that he meets at, even if he met them in the exact same situation. I don't see him pulling such a swindle on those two boys like that. But what Tom does with the Aiel, yeah, that's Tom. That's Tom through and through. And what Tom does with letting Matt search through the Aiel's pockets and all that, that's Tom through and through, including telling him, if you're going to take from the dead, the least you can do is help bury the dead. That's Tom, all that. So while there's still Tom there's a lot of, who the hell is this going on? I mean, it's like we got Tom Waits, Maryland going on here. And that's what it really feels like. And yes, I am going to pop a picture of Tom Waits up on screen when I say that.
Someone on Twitter called him Tom Solo.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, he's grittier and edgier than the Tom we know, but I think I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad he was there at the end of the episode. I don't know if he happened to be there or if he was following and was chasing along, like running along the side street over, as Matt and Rand were running along. I don't know. But yeah, just Tom doesn't quite feel right. In some ways, yes, but
I want to hear a different song from Tom.
Yeah, I want to hear him sing more too. But I mean, his singing is why I say Tom Waits. And he's more aggressive than our Tom. So can't say I dislike him yet. He's not quite the same.
I seem to recall someone said he sang in Frozen. The actor?
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up. I read someone said something about that.
How about you, Grace?
My another turning was Nynaeve versus the Trolloc, which is something we did not get in the books, but I very much enjoyed seeing. I kind of wish that I hadn't seen. There was, I don't know if it was a teaser or trailer or something that came out before the show dropped, where we got to see that.
Yeah.
Nynaeve running away and hiding in the pool. Kind of wish that had all been a surprise because it was just so cool and it showed her resourcefulness, it showed her sneakiness, and the braid flip obviously is part of that. So I was a big fan of that change. I thought it was a good change. Give her something to do, in the time between Winter Night and catching up with them as a flashback, and it just looked cool.
Max, now you already gave yours?
Yeah.
So we're to the final segment of our show, the one we haven't done yet, because it hasn't been applicable to the first 2 episodes since we had the third, and that's reading the pattern. It's our predictions for the next episode and beyond, based on the show so far and what we know from the books and trailers. I'll start. I think this next episode, I think this is all pretty obvious. We're going to see Maureen heal. We'll see a confrontation with her and the other Aes Sedai over what she's been up to and who Nynaeve is. And we'll see the Reds try to steal Nynaeve off to take her to the tower. We'll see some Dragonsworn try to free Logain, causing a bunch of death, including Kareen. I think Matt, Tom, and Randall will encounter a Fade. The boys will attempt to flee while Tom fights it. That seems like we're going to see that because we've seen some of that in commercials. That's got to be happening around this time. Perrin and Egwene are going to continue traveling with the Tinkers. And I think the White Cloaks will attack the caravan. And everybody will scatter, and the 2 of them will end up with Aram, but the 3 of them will get caught by the White Cloaks. And Aram will get knocked out, and they'll get captured, and I don't know what's going to happen to the 3 of them after that, or to Aram at least. I know the 2 of them will eventually get rescued, but who knows what happens to Aram. But that's about all I got for predictions. And that's just what I think next episode.
I agree with that. And I would add, I think the next episode is going to start off with a Logain flashback, just going based on the structure of the episode so far. Episode 2, we had the Nynaeve cliffhanger, and then episode 3 started off with the Nynaeve flashback. Same thing, episode 3 ending with Logain's face. So episode 4, I think, is going to start in Geldon, and we're going to see him attacking the city and getting caught somehow.
All that stuff with the Logain teaser.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that. See. Yeah. So, everything leading up to him getting caught by the Aes Sedai.
The IMDb page says Maureen struggles with uncertainty while Lan struggles with their new companion. Rand wonders about Matt. Egwene and Perrin take their first steps on a different path, and incredible new power is unleashed on the world. So the new power could be Logain in the cold opening.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lan's new companion, I guess, is probably all the warders and Aja and all that junk. And, we don't know if they recapture Logain in this turning. Or if Logain's just off doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Because that would fall within the new powers unleashed.
Yeah, they haven't really talked about Sidene yet and all of that explicitly. I mean, they had the cold
not
open
on the show.
Yeah.
But I do think, we saw maybe something with Rand in the door. I personally think he was just really stubborn and broke it down and didn't use the power. That's my theory. He's just really stubborn.
I think he channeled.
I think we might see something more channeling from him in episode 4. In the books, we had 2 or 3 times he did that we know of. There was Bella. There was the boat with the Trollocs chasing Matt and them on the boat, and he's up in the things, and then the lightning. And it was until the lightning that he got sick.
He did get sick the other times. He got. I
think the last one was the biggest sickness he had.
The first time he channeled was channeling to Bella to keep Bella going, and he got sick from that, standing there in Barillon watching the White Cloaks get splattered with mud. That's why he acted so stupid to the White Cloaks. That was his first reaction to channeling. The second time he channeled, what was the second time he channeled? It was the swinging the yard arm on the spray around to hit the Trolloc, and his reaction to that was all up top at the crow's nest.
Yep.
The third time he channeled was the lightning, which he was sick for while riding in the back of, I think, Almond Bunt's cart, or one of the farmers' carts on the road to Caelin.
That's what I meant by sick. Like he was like down for
Yeah.
the count, fever, the works.
That was like super sick.
So, if they keep the 3 sicknesses,
That
he's
was
still
a
got 2
ser-
more.
Yeah. That was a
Unless he did
serious
heal
crisis.
Bella and Maureen was just, didn't get time to heal and notice.
I don't even know if she got to. I don't know which horse is which on there. I don't pay attention to the horses that much on the show.
Lan
So I don't
interrupted her
even know.
before. Lan interrupted her before healing the last horse, which was still standing up. The one she just healed was sitting down.
Was it 1 or 2 horses she didn't get to?
I think she was on her last one.
Okay.
Like just going down the row, and that was the last one. And I think people said that was Bella, but Lan interrupted her, so maybe she didn't get time to go, oh, it's already healed. What the hell?
Okay, I don't know.
In the books, was Nynaeve there at the time? At that point?
Yeah, no,
No, I don't think
No.
so.
Couldn't remember.
no. Nynaeve didn't catch up with him until Barrelon, and this is well before Barrelon.
Yeah.
This is the first night.
I want to say in the book she thought it was Egwene that healed the horse, not Rand.
No. She didn't even suspect anybody had given.
Oh, she knew it was healed, and it was peculiar.
All right, so. Oh, wow, we're done for that. Wow. Well, I think that's another episode, folks. Grace, thank you so much for coming on again.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
Can you tell us again when is your show on? What night?
So Threefold Talks is live streaming on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, up through the end of the year, and then we'll probably go back to Thursday nights in 2022.
And it's on Melchior's Talks. Melchior Talks YouTube channel.
Yes.
That's Rob's channel. Okay, awesome. Thank you for joining us. And everybody can reach you there on the Twitter handles on the screen there. Thanks for joining us, Grace. Everybody watching, thanks for joining us. Please leave a like, a subscribe, and maybe even a comment or 2. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to be awesome.